This is a video to help with Unit 1, Task 9, and that is the only piece of distinction work that is on Assignment 1. So your due date then, only if you pass all of your pass and merit work has been handed in and passed can you begin the distinction. The final deadline for this assignment is November the 20th. On Monday the 23rd we're starting the next assignment. So if you don't meet this final deadline, then you've not passed Unit 1. You will have 3 lessons in order to be able to complete this at college. So task 9 then. Using the 4 stakeholders, 4 for each organisation, discuss 3 examples of how the stakeholder has exerted a positive influence in regards to the organisation, and then how they have exerted 3 negative influences in regards to the organisation. Based on these findings, discuss which stakeholder then has the most influence on the organisation and which has the least influence on the organisation. So what that means then is that we will be choosing 4 stakeholders for Tesco. Ensure that there's a mix of internal and external stakeholders. For each, write about 3 things that each stakeholder does that affects the business in a positive way, and 3 things that they do that affects the business in a negative way. So for Tesco, you should have 24 paragraphs. And then we have to do the same for Oldham Council. So it is a really big piece of work, this distinction. After you've written about these, so 4 stakeholders for Tesco and 4 for Oldham Council, you then need to choose for both businesses, out of the 4 stakeholders that you've chosen, which is the most important stakeholder and who is the least important stakeholder. Then you need to explain, I've spelt that word wrong here, explain why you've made this decision. So a bit of help then. Remember that this is distinction level. It should be an individual piece of work and of a high standard. Please plan your 24 paragraphs for each company and ask me to look over these before you write them, just to ensure that you're on the right track. So for example then, if we chose managers as a stakeholder for Tesco, 3 positive things could be that they deal with customer complaints, they maintain store standards and meet targets, and they also employ new staff. Remember, this is distinction level. You need to explain all these points in different paragraphs. 3 negatives could be maybe they've got a lack of motivation, poor attendance, they've got high pressure roles to meet the targets and maintain store standards. Now there is a couple of different examples I could give you here. So you could also choose, for example, employees. And their positive points could be they're motivated to make the business profitable, teamwork, setting targets, and creating a positive image for the business. Their negative points might be things like poor punctuality, lack of motivation, poor attendance, issues of security. I've been through managers. They also maintain control over employees. I'll just find another example to give you. So customers then, positive points that customers do are things like free advertisement. They make Tesco a profitable business. You could talk about Tesco club cards and how customers use Tesco club cards. They also help Tesco to establish the customer needs. The negative points then is that due to there being a lot of stores and a wide variety of target markets that shop at Tesco, it's impossible to please every single customer. Therefore, they will have some customer complaints. There might be security risks. Think about things about the aisles that they have and that it's impossible for staff to watch every aisle all the time. There's also customer blogging. They might have a negative influence over the business if they are blogging about negative experiences that they've had and giving the business a bad reputation. Suppliers then, you could talk about things like discounts that they might give, secure contracts. The negative points, think of things like unreliable products. So I hope there that I've given you some ideas about different positive and negative things that you could talk about for the business. Remember, you need to do 3 positive and 3 negative for each of the 4 stakeholders. So you need to do that for Tesco and then do the same for Oldham Council. Remember, spelling is really important at distinction level. You need to make sure that you've answered every single section correctly. You need to make sure that you have got 4 stakeholders for Oldham, 4 stakeholders for Tesco, and that you're discussing 3 positive and 3 negative for each. So you should have 6 paragraphs for each 4 stakeholders for Tesco and the same for Oldham Council. Now don't forget the final piece of your work. This is where your evaluation skills come in. You then need to choose who the most important stakeholder is for Tesco and the least, and describe why you've made that decision based on what you've spoken about. You then need to do the same for Oldham Council. Please make sure that you've proofread your work and handed it in the... Remember, this needs to go through Turnitin with the digital receipt, write the percentage on, staple all your work together and hand it in a plastic wallet with any copies of old work if I have marked them already. Now remember, this needs to be in on Friday the 20th. You have got until 4:15, so come find me in the business office 106 or pop it in the envelope outside the law office, which is room 111, just down the corridor. There is an envelope with my name on it. You must meet this deadline. If you don't miss this deadline, then your work will not be marked and therefore you will not have completed Unit 1 and got your distinction level. Thank you. Bye.